Well, hello everyone. I hope everyone's doing okay. There are a lot of questions that I have received recently. I keep replying to your comments as much as possible. We have questions around how do you optimize your plots? How do you look at Chia in an optimized plotting fashion? So, here I am showing you how I do my plots. First, let's take a look at the hard drives. So I got an Amazon delivery of another 16 terabyte Seagate expansion. So I'm once again plotting. All the rest of the hard drives which appear red are completely full. But yes, I do have one Seagate expansion which is a 16 terabyte hard drive, and that's now storing quite a few plots. In terms of the actual plotting, it is happening on two 1 terabyte Gen 4 NVMe drives, which are Gigabyte Aorus 1800 TBW NVMe drives. Well, the benefit is they don't really cost a bomb. There are some Intel server grade SSDs which really do cost a lot. However, the Gigabyte Aorus ones, I got them for about 14,000 Indian rupees. So that's about $180. Let me just take you to the task manager. So you can see I have a 12 core 24 thread CPU. So I have set IR1 to have 10 queued plots. So one plot going on and 10 in queue. And similarly, I have IR2, which is 20 plots, and I have IR3, which is another 20 plots. And along with that, I also have QR1, which is now at 13%. Three of these plots, they are running at 60%. So at this very moment, they are just consuming one thread. Anything that crosses 31% or has reached 31% is no longer using all four threads. It's only using one thread. For the three plots which are running at 60%, while they were being plotted from 0 to 31%, they were using 4 threads multiplied by 3 plots, so that's 12 threads which were continuously getting used. But you can see here that we don't have 12 threads in use right now. Right now we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 threads. However, QR1, this is actually at the processor intensive phase. So phase 1 is very intensive. That's where your processor is actually doing the calculations using all the threads that you have assigned to it. So let's create a new plot. Let's add a plot. This time, once again, I will add 20 plots. I will show advanced options. Here I'll change my memory to 4000. I'll show you why I choose 4000. People might go for different settings, but I choose to have number of threads set to 4 and the maximum RAM size set to 4000. Basically what I've done is I've tried each and every setting. You can see some plotting benchmarks. So I've tried with 3.39 gigabytes of RAM, which is the default RAM, and from 2 threads I've changed it to 4 threads. You can find this out for yourself, and if you actually want to plot in a very good way, I would suggest you to go to this folder. For me, it is under users, my username .chia mainnet plotter. So for each plot there is a log that is created. Only completed plots have about 204 kilobytes of data, so you can open that plot and you can see how much time it took for each of those phases. So going back to my Word document, on 3.39 gigs of RAM and 4 threads, it takes about 4.7 hours. With 4 gigabytes of RAM and 4 threads, it takes 4.175 hours. With 3.39 gigs of RAM and 6 threads, it takes 4.461 hours. So more threads, less RAM, 4.461. Here, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 2 less threads, 4.175 hours. That's a stark difference. Now, I tried 4 gigabytes of RAM and 6 threads, and what I got was the best time with my Ryzen 9 5900X, that is 3.979 hours, which is under 4 hours. I also did a couple of other benchmarks. So I tried 3.39 gigs of RAM and 8 threads each for each plot. That gave me 3.901 hours. So that was even better than this, but you could call it diminishing returns, because 3.979 hours versus 3.901 hours, 2 additional threads, doesn't really make a lot of sense. I also tried 4 gigabytes 10 threads. That gave me 3.871 hours, but of course, since I'm using 10 threads and I have 24 threads in total on the processor, I could only do 2 parallel plots with this kind of a setting. I've got 32 gigs of RAM, so I'm also not using my RAM judiciously. I'm wasting on the resources. Then I also tried 5 gigabytes of RAM and 6 threads. That took 4.503 hours. Out of all these settings, the best setting which I find is optimal is 4 gigabytes and 4 threads, provided you have two 1 terabyte NVMEs, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and 12 core 24 thread processor. So that's 4.175 hours, which I find is optimal. And with this setting, I can do 6 plots in parallel at the same time. So now let's get back to our Chia plotting screen. So here we'll select plot count to 20. We'll add plots to the queue. In the temporary folder, I will go to my second NVMe. Remember that iDrive is already doing 3 plots right now and storing it into R. And Q is now creating only 1 plot and storing it into R. So I have space for 2 more plots here. So I'll select Q as my temporary directory, and I will browse over to the only drive that I have left, and I'll select the folder. Now that I've got all these settings done, what I'll do is I will name this, since I already am doing 1 plot with Q and R as a combination, uppercase QR2, and that tells me what kind of a plot this is. Of course, just to quickly check once again, 20 plots, 4000 RAM, 4 threads, QR2 is the queue name, create plot. This is QR1. It has now added QR2 into the queue, and this is going to now create 20 plots. So it has started plotting. The moment it starts plotting, now it is actually using all 4 threads that we have assigned. So you can see there's a certain jump in the usage of the processor. Also, Q drive is now far more active, because the stage where the iDrive plots are, so this one is at 66%, this is iDrive R1, this is iDrive R2, and this is iDrive R3. So they are already at 65%. One pattern I have observed is the NVMEs, they have a certain pattern while doing the plots. So sometimes, or some percentage of the plotting process has a lot of I/O. So you can see both of them being Gen 4 hard drives, they are doing quite heavy I/O. So you just saw it reading 1.1 gigabits per second. A lot of I/O on the NVMEs, and just quick small reads on the hard drives. So one thing that we need to keep in mind is you should go to your power options, power and sleep settings, and I want my screen to turn off after 5 minutes. However, I want to go to the additional power options. I want to set this to high performance, and here I want to change my plan settings. Go to change advanced power settings and turn off hard disk after. I want to set this setting to 0, because I never want my hard drives to get turned off. If your hard drives keep getting turned off and on, that's a lot of load on the hard drive. It needs to spin up, it needs to reach a certain RPM, because the hard drive is basically a motor assembly which is spinning, and there's a head which is trying to read data from the magnetic hard drive. You don't want it to spin up and spin down all the time. You want it to keep running at a constant speed that is power efficient, and it is also efficient for the hard drive. The wear and tear on the hard drive will be less that way. Apart from this, I keep all of my settings at high performance. I want to ensure that my computer never goes to sleep. Of course, all these hibernate settings, these are all turned off. And since I'm using external hard drives, which are connected through USB, I don't want to selectively suspend any of the USB ports because I want them to be farming, be active and looking for proofs all the time. Moving over to my farm, I have about 50 terabytes plotted. I've got 500 plots now. Yeah, 4 Chia, and hoping to make some more Chia soon. I wish everyone all the best in their Chia journeys. If you have already won some Chia, congratulations. If you have not won any Chia yet, I wish you all the best and have a good day. Bye bye.